Yeah, Josh. So just for the record, if I could get you to say your first and last name and then
Yeah,
spell it.
Joshua Hawes, Haws.
And Josh, unfortunately, I understand you may have been a victim of what happened last week with with the suspects throwing the frozen water bottles. Could you just maybe detail to me a little of the damage that you sustained and maybe kind of what happened as you were driving that night?
Yeah, absolutely. I was coming home. I started doing DoorDash on the weekends to help pay for medical bills for my son's medical treatments, and I was making my last delivery on Friday night, and I was coming up on the backside of Liberty Hill on Baghdad Road about 10:30 in the evening, headed home, and I had a vehicle coming in the opposite direction that I was, flash their high beams. I assumed that my high beams were on because that does happen, and that's kind of the signal that people get to be like, "Hey, turn off your high beams." And so I looked down at my dash to confirm if my high beams were left on, and next thing I know, I'm hearing a loud bang and couldn't see out my windshield.
So like the water bottle hit your windshield, and then just like what happened after that? Like, did it crack, shatter immediately? Like, what happened?
Oh, I'm surprised it didn't go through my windshield. Like it hit me on the driver's side, right, kind of in the middle of my vision looking out of the driver's side windshield, and it spidered the whole driver's side, and it started going into the passenger side part of the windshield. I wasn't able to stop or pull over because that road is so narrow and so little, and with it being so dark, I didn't want to take a risk of getting hit, and so I popped my head out my driver door and drove home. I was only just a few minutes from home, drove home like Ace Ventura. Um, but when I got home, I was able to actually assess what was happening because at the moment I was in complete shock of what happened. Couldn't process what was going on, but the windshield was so spongy that there was like if you were to put force on it, it would have collapsed on itself.
I imagine that's going to be a scary thing to go through. And then the fact that you were able to make it home is incredible. Um, but what have you been able to do since then? How has it kind of worked out for you? Have you gotten your windshield replaced?
Yeah, so I got it replaced Tuesday morning. Luckily, I work for a good company that they were able to let me borrow a work truck just to get to and from the office. It's only a 10-minute commute, so it was nice and easy and convenient. While my vehicle was at the house waiting to get repaired, but with the accident happening Friday, I used the guy that our company uses for our fleet vehicles. He came to my house up here in Liberty Hill, and he was able to do it really quick and really take really good care of me.
Yeah, police say that unfortunately they don't believe like at that cross section near that cross section they had cameras available, just the I think the traffic sensors, but they're asking or they're in their investigation they might be using dash cam videos from cars that were affected. Did you have a dash cam camera on you at that time? And then like have you shared that with police?
Unfortunately, no, I don't have one. I've been meaning to get one for quite some time, but now this is kind of pushing me in that direction to get one.
Yeah, and then un- police are saying the suspects are juveniles. It's kind of hard to know their ages at this point, but um, what do you think about that? Like, what do you think about just potentially the ages of the suspects involved? Like they could potentially be younger kids or what?
You know, I I've been thinking about this. I've been talking to a lot of friends about this just to cope through it all. And you know, I was young once. We were all young once. We've all done stupid stuff, but I to put an age, it's kind of hard to put an age on something like that. It could be someone in high school. It could be someone that just graduated and they wanted to start their summer off doing you know stuff to celebrate or whatever. But to put someone's life at risk is unspeakable. So like it, if I were to put an age, I would say probably someone right out of high school just trying to start, just to goof off at the beginning of summer. I but it's really hard to say.
Josh, anything else you'd like to add to our conversation today?
You know, I hope this helps the local police departments find whoever is responsible for this. I know there's been a couple of people that have had instances where their faces gotten cut up because it hit them so hard. Their glass, they had glass in their arms, their eyes. It just they don't know what these kids are doing. Next thing you know, it could be an experienced driver. It could be someone that just barely started driving, and it could just take one slight movement from being scared from that jolt from something hitting your car, and it could be an overcorrected turn. It could be a car in a ditch. These Texas roads aren't the straightest roads, and it could just take the wrong movement from being scared by that object hitting your windshield that it could end up into someone dying. So I hope that Leander PD or whoever, Georgetown, Liberty Hill, I hope all these precincts work together and find these people that are responsible.
I want to ask you one last question actually before you go. Since
Yeah,
you said the car that approached or was driving in your opposite direction flashed its lights, did you happen to notice what kind of car it was? I know they're looking for three different cars.
I wasn't able to make out the vehicle. Like I said, I was focused on seeing if my brights were on because if someone is driving the opposite direction of me and I signal that their brights are on, hey, I'm going to flash my lights. That was an indication to me. Hey, my brights are probably on, and so my eyes were looking down at my dash to see if my brights were on, and then that's all where it went. So fortunately I wasn't able to get a make or model or anything, color of the vehicle. Um, but yeah, I think what they're doing is they're trying to distract you from trying to get all that. But I hope they find them soon.
Josh, thank you so much. I appreciate your time today. It was a big help.
All right, no problem. My pleasure.
Yeah, man. Thanks. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
Bye bye.